So today I want to talk to you about 5 signs that it's time to replace your tank style water heater. So these tips are not typically relevant of a tankless style, but they're very relevant if you have a tank style, which the majority of us have, at least for the time being. So a tank style water heater, the outside coating that you see, or that metal layer, is actually just cosmetic. It's there to be pretty and to make all the inside components hidden. But what your water heater is made of, so it's inside, it's lined with glass, which is a protective coating of the steel lining that your water heater is actually made of. Glass always breaks. That's just an inevitable fact of life. You've got hot water, cooling, heating, time. It inevitably is going to crack. So I want to give you 5 signs so you can be proactive rather than reactive. And what I have found is that being proactive and looking for these signs helps you to plan your budget accordingly. And it really helps you to make an informed decision. You're not at 2 a.m. on a Sunday having to choose what's available right then and there. You can actually start looking into other options that are more energy efficient, like a tankless or a hybrid, or even a lifetime warranty water heater like a plastic one, so that you can make an informed decision, not from a place of panic. So we want to be proactive. So there's 5 easy signs that you can look for. 1 is any sign of corrosion. So when you see that metal casing on the outside that's cosmetic, if you're seeing any signs of corrosion at the top, near, if you have an electric one, if near the element covers, or at the base of the water heater, you'll see a seam for that metal covering. If you see any signs of corrosion, that didn't magically get there. It's a sign that that glass lining on the inside of that steel has cracks in it and it is seeping water through. Most water heaters don't just burst. They leak slowly over time until they burst. So there's lots of signs, if we're looking for them, that can help us be proactive and not have a flood and really make the choice that we want to on our next water heater. So any signs of corrosion, and it looks white, sometimes a little bit blue, but those are hard water signs and that water's coming through. The next one to look for is very similar, but we're looking for rust. If you see any rust on your water heater at the top, near the bottom, or near where those element covers are on, if you have an electric water heater, it is absolutely a sign, especially if it's at the bottom, that the water heater's leaking and that water is seeping through and that steel is rusting, and that's why it's so rusty. Sometimes if the rust is on the top, it's not 100% indicator that it's the tank. It could be the plumbing going to your water heater, but it's definitely a sign. It's time to give us a call so we can come out and assess what's going on and give you your best options for repair, replacement, whatever you may be going on. So the third sign is age. It's a thing. So I have been doing this 22 years as a native of Phoenix. And what I have noted, and a lot of people will agree with me, is there is an average lifespan to a water heater. So an electric water heater has a shorter lifespan than a gas water heater. So an electric water heater, we've noticed, typically is going to last 6 to 8 years. And of course there are components of that can either shorten the lifespan or lengthen it. The quality of the water heater, the quality of the water, the maintenance history of your water heater, that kind of thing. But after hundreds of thousands of water heaters, this is the data that I've pulled, is 6 to 8 years is the average lifespan of an electric heater. So if you don't know the age of your water heater, which you probably don't, there is a tag on your water heater, typically near the bottom, and it has the model and serial number on it. You want to take that model number, and the first 4 numbers of that model number are the code, the hidden code, like a VIN number on a car, that tell the age of the water heater. The rest says like 40 G, so it's like 40 gas. There's a whole deciphering code to that, but you can go to the manufacturer's website and put in your model number, and you can find out how old your water heater is. So Rheem has this, Root has this, Bradford, White, American, all of them. So you can go to the manufacturer's website. The manufacturer name should be on a large label on your water heater, and you can check out the model number. But if you're getting close to that 6 to 8 years on your electric, or it's 7 to 9 years on your gas water heater, it's definitely time to start making plans, especially if you've never maintained your water heater, which actually gets me into our next sign. If you haven't maintained your water heater over its lifespan and it's getting to that age, it's more of an urgent thing than a, hey, let's wait and see what happens thing. Water heaters are supposed to be maintained on an annual basis, especially here in Phoenix because we have such hard water. So even if you have your water heater connected to a salt softener, it's irrelevant because the salt that's in the water is eating the metal components within your water heater. So the water heater has what's called an anode rod in it. And that anode rod is designed to be the sacrificial lamb. Minerals in our water, in our hard water, or even if you've replaced those minerals with salt, with a salt system, they're eating that anode rod. And when that anode rod is gone, the next component to eat is the tank of the water heater. So if you haven't flushed it on an annual basis and drained it and cleaned it, you haven't taken care of it, like not changing the oil in your car, eventually that engine blows. It's the very same thing with your water heater. If you don't maintain it over its lifespan shortens. So if you haven't maintained it and you're at that 6 to 8 years or that 7 to 9 years, even if you're at that closer mark, let's say you're at 5, you really want to start planning and putting it in your budget, because the worst thing, it just is horrible when your water heater bursts, you're not prepared for it financially, or it floods your garage or your laundry room, wherever it might be. It's not a fun experience. So, and then the last sign, the 5th sign, is that you don't have enough hot water. So this isn't always a sign it's time to replace your water heater, but it sure is if that water heater is getting close to that lifespan that we talked about. And the reason being is the sediment that builds in a water heater reduces the gallon capacity. So if you have a 50-gallon electric and over its lifespan and it hasn't been flushed and maintained, the sediment builds at the bottom. So it all builds on the elements, coats, and then it falls to the bottom, all this hard water and minerals. And over the first year, you went from 50 gallons to 45 gallons, and then 40 gallons, and then 35 gallons. It just builds and builds and builds a layer of sediment at the bottom, reducing the volume capacity of your water heater. So if you find yourself, you used to be able to enjoy 3 showers back to back and now it's down to 2, it's definitely an indication that the volume capacity has been reduced in your water heater due to sediment, due to age, and due to poor maintenance. And it's certainly something to start planning for a consultation, to have one of the techs come out and give you your options, what's available to you, so you can start planning accordingly and not have an emergency while you're on vacation. So I hope you guys found these tips helpful today. I know that the clients that have used them have really been able to feel empowered, and that's what we want for all of you, to be able to make empowered and informed decisions and not urgent, scary, I have to decisions. That's always our goal, is to educate and inform. So I hope you guys found these 5 tips helpful today. I definitely challenge you to take your model number and plug it into the internet and see how old your water heater is. And if you have a newer water heater, I definitely challenge you to start maintaining it on an annual basis, because you can literally add years to the lifespan of it. It's nuts what maintaining a water heater every year can do, as far as taking it from that 6 to 8 years to 8 to 10, and really, getting the life out of a water heater that you can get. But yeah, if you're at that, age span, or you're seeing that rust, you're seeing that corrosion, don't procrastinate. Give us a call. We'll come out, give you a consultation, educate you on the options that are out there, so you guys can make an informed decision and plan for it. So you, of course, can reach us at our office at 623-486-4657, or you can chat with our office online at robinsplumbing.com.